related note, in terms of keeping yourself fueled, one of the side effects of a long training program leading up to an ultra is fatigue build-up. Do you have any nutritional advice for the runners of how do you pep yourself up, so to say? Almost like how do you give yourself that vitamin injection shot every now and again to give you the energy levels?
Well, the one thing goes back straight back to the carbohydrate. It's when your muscle is empty of carbohydrate, when the glycogen stores, to get technical for a moment, are very low, running at a faster pace is difficult and you feel fatigued. So if you've refueled from one training session to the rest, you'll feel a whole lot better and less fatigued. The other thing that sometimes can happen is, especially on the hotter summer training days, you can just gradually get, I'm not going to say dehydrated, just maybe lower than optimal on what might be optimal on fluid. So just make sure that you are drinking sufficiently. That doesn't mean drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking. That's just over drinking. But just to make sure you do replenish your fluid needs. I think those two things play a big role in just general sense of fatigue. Adequate sleep, that's important. And the other thing to look at is if you are getting excessively leg fatigued, look at the training program. It might be that you're trying to train too many hard days on top of the other. So if you've trained hard one day, follow that with a very much easier day. So if one's legs are getting fatigued, you really should say, okay, maybe I need to cut back a little bit for a day or two, especially as we were talking about earlier with a bit of a rush to maybe get the long runs in. It might be a case of doing long runs week after week after week. You might not be able to adapt to that, and you might need a week where you, instead of doing your planned 40-kilometer run, you actually just do a 15-kilometer jog that weekend, and you'll be the better off for it maybe if your legs are like just building up in fatigue.
That goes back to the famous saying, which Bruce Fordyce often used to say, rather go into a race undertrained than overtrained, isn't it?
People must pay a lot of attention to what Bruce said. He said lots of very wise things, and they are as valid today as they were then. What is brilliant about Bruce was he could identify all these little factors. People should go and read his book. There's absolute gems of advice in there. And far better to go into the race slightly undertrained than overtrained, for sure.